So the next thing sounds a lot harder than it really is. This is Excel Module 4, the textbook project Part 2. So we're going to pick up on formatting a chart. So it tells us with the chart selected, we're going to click the chart tools and we're going to click any column in and do the Q4 data series. All right, so that sounds a lot harder than it really is. We're going to click the, so let's right click. So it's kind of a little hard to explain what you really need to do, but anywhere you need to do is click on any one of these charts over here. So this is the Q4. So you can tell it's Q4 because of the gray over here. Plus, if you hold your mouse over it, it will tell you Q4. So what it wants us to do is go and we're going to right click and choose Format Data Series, which I've already had open. So you can have it here. And then we're going to go to the Fill. And make sure that you're using Fill and not Border. So it's very easy to make a mistake in here. So it wants us to go into the Shape Fill. And we're going to go in and we'll do Plum Accent 1. So here's Solid Fill. And you could actually do it from the chart design over here and do Shape Fill as well in here. So I'll do it both ways and let you know. So it wants us to do Plum Accent 1 lighter 90, which is second row, 5th from the left. So second row, 5th from the left. So that took care of that. So I could have also gone up top here and in Format, choose the Shape Fill and done the same thing. So either way is fine. Again, there's never just one way to do these things. Sometimes the instructions are a little bit confusing, so don't feel bad. Just read them again and then let me know if you have any issues and I'll try to help you out. So now we're going to click on any column in the Q3 data series, which is right here. So here is column 3. And of course it tells us when you hold your mouse over what it is. Eventually, there we go. And then we want to click the More buttons and click the Subtle Effect Pink Access 3. So we're going to go on the Shape Styles. And it wants us to choose Subtle Effect Pink Accent 3, which is the 4th row, 4th from the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that looks kind of neat. And this is what it should look like. So we have a lighter color and then kind of a darker color. So I try to compare them over there. So when you do that, just make sure that you're looking good in there. If you see any discrepancy, then go back and change it. So now we're going to insert, we're going to do a header and footer, which is basically the same thing you guys have been doing a long time. So click Insert, and we'll go to Header and Footer. And then we want to go to Custom Footer. So we'll click on Custom Footer. And in the center section, it wants you to type your name, which I will do. Click on OK, click on OK. And that takes care of that. We're going to save the work. Remember to save your work early and often. Then it talks about word art and aligning charts and things of that nature. It's really pretty easy to do. You can read that at your leisure. Now we're going to create a pie chart. And it does tell you can create multiple charts based on the same worksheet data. And, of course, you want to probably put them in a different worksheet, or you can keep them in the same worksheet so you can compare them. Again, it's totally up to you what you want to do. Click the US worksheet here, which I've done, and we're going to select A5 to A12. Then we're going to hold the Control key down and select F5 to F15. So now we have both of them, and we're going to do a 2D pie chart. So we just go to Insert, and I'll do the charts, do all charts. Here's pie, and this is the first one. Now the 3D looks really neat, but they want a 2D, so let's click on that. And we want to move chart to a new one, so I'll just click on move chart since it's already there. Click on new sheet, and let's see what it wants us called. It wants us called pie. Looking good there. That was number 2. Number 3, we want to put a chart title placeholder. Let's see, it wants word art styles. So let's see what it physically wants us to type in. So let's select the chart title here. And then we're going to click the chart tools format. And then here's our word art over here. So it wants us to use the fill pink accent color 3, sharp bevel, which is the second row first from the right. Second row and first from the right. Then the chart title needs to be JCL Total Expenses. And we're good there. That is number 3. And so far I'm looking at what it looks like, which is basically the same. So we're good there. So now we're going to click the Houston data point. Now remember, when you click a data point, it selects all of the pies. You have to click it one more time so that you can work on an individual. If you don't know which one is Houston, you can click here and see the color over here. Or, of course, you hold your mouse over it. So now we click, but notice that every one of these is selected. So click it one more time, and now we only have Houston selected. We have the Format Data Point open already. If you didn't, you would just right-click and choose Format Data Point. So now what it wants us to do is do the explosion. So obviously we don't have explosion in here. This is one different option, but here is where you get the explosion. And it wants us to do a 10% explosion. Once you click enter, it moves it out. So that's looking good. In the chart elements button, we want to do a data labels. So let's go and do data labels, which is right here. And then it wants us to click the arrow and we'll do outside end. And now, I did this on purpose. Notice that it only did the Houston. So if you have that problem, we want to get rid of the data labels. And now what we need to do is select the chart again in here. So let's click outside, and then we'll click here again. So now you have them all. So now we can go and do the data labels, and in here. So we want to do a data labels, and we want it to be outside end. So that takes care of everything there. So now you know what to do if you only get the one in here. So now we're going to click outside end. We're going to do more options here again. And this allows you to, what happened there? There we go. So now we have more options, allows us to choose what we want. So it wants us to put in a percentage box. And then it also wants us to get rid of the value. So we get rid of the value, it's just going to give us percentage in here. So that's looking good. Now we're going to do a data call out. So let's go again and click here. And we have the data labels. And let's just make it a data call out. So you can see how that changed over here. And that is all of this one here. So let's go move to the next. We're on 4.8 summarized data with Sparklines, which you've done a few times already. We're going to click the US Sheet tab here. And we're going to click in cell G5. It wants us to insert a column. So we're going to click on insert. And in the Sparklines group, which is right over here, we want to do a column. Then it'll ask us what the data range is, which is going to be B5 to E5. So here's B5 to E5. And we'll click on OK. And let's see if it wants us to move them down. So we're going to copy them down using the fill handle. So that's a representation of each quarter and how much it is. Obviously, the higher the amount, the bigger the data bar will be. That takes care of number 3. We're going to click in G5, and then we're going to choose the line group. Now notice I clicked in G5, but this is also selected. As soon as I go and change it to line, then let's go back to here. It changed them all to line in here. So now we're going to click the Sparkline color, and we want to do plum. So here's the Sparkline color. So that'll change it to plum is the last row, 5th color from the left. Last row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that changed all of those over here. Let's see what else. We're going to do, click the more button in the style group, plum, Sparkline. So we want to go to the style. And we're going to do the 3rd one from the left with its style 3 darker 5. So 3rd from the left in the 1st row. 1, 2, 3. And let's go, and that was number 5. Let's go the marker color in the style. So we're going to do a high point marker. So it's very easy to do. Let's just click on. Now, don't click. You can click on here if you want in here, but we can do both at the same time. Let's click on a high point marker, and let's see what color it wants in here. Let's see. It wants us to do plum 2, accent 2, which is the 6th from left in the 6th row. So this is, whoops. 1, 2, okay, I know I can do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the 6th from the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So notice that the high point is got a little marker over there. And let's see what else it wants us to do. Then we're going to do click the marker color, select the brew in here, markers checkbox. So let me read that again. Click the marker color button in the styles group to point to markers. So we're going to go to marker color. Here's markers, which is all of them. And then we're going to do the blue-gray accent 6, which is last in theme colors. So this should be here, blue crane accent 6. So you can see now you have different markers. Every time that it changes, it gives you a little marker right there. The high point is over here, and you could also do a low point if you wanted to as well. So now we're going to click C5. So here is C5, New York, and we're going to change it to 674213. 6742.13. And notice that it changed it automatically for you. Now we're going to click the Insert tab. We're going to do header and footer, and we're going to put our name in the center section. So Insert, header and footer. If you didn't like doing it that way, you can actually go into page layout, and you can go into page setup and header and footer here. It gives you the exact same thing. So let's go into Insert and header and footer. It's a little bit shorter to do. That's a kind of a quick way of doing it. So we don't want to do the header. We want to do footer, and we want to type our name in. Click outside, and let's go back to normal view, and we'll save it. And that's everything for here. Let's move on, which I believe is the very last one. Now we're going to do what's called data trends and form a trend line, which are really easy to do. They just sound hard to do it. So we're going to right-click the column sheet, and you have to read this one. It says click move or copy and click move to end. But the problem is they really need to say create a copy first because it says click move to end. So you don't want to do that. Let's right-click column. We're going to click move or copy. we're going to make sure we choose click create a copy, click move to end, which you could do in here as long as you don't click OK. So now we have column 2. And then we'll see if it wants us to change the name of it. Yes, wants us to change the name of it to Trends. Make sure you don't put a space after the S like I did, and it marked me off and said I had no tab called Trends. And so I knew I did, but then I looked and saw that it had a space after that. So just be careful if you get marked off for anything that you know is there. Just check to see if there's any extra spaces in there. So now what we want to do is we're going to switch the rows in a column. And something does not look right in here. So I will fix that. So right now the data table is looking kind of cluttered. So in the next step, it tells us to get rid of the data table. So we're going to click here and we don't need it. And here is our data table and that's gone. So now we just have the quarters in here. So now we're going to go back to click trend line and select that New York is in here. So here is trend line and we're going to click here. And we probably want linear, but you can just, the first time around, you can click trend line here, and we'll click on New York. And you can see it does kind of give you a little bit of trend of what's going on here as to what's going to happen. And so that is number 4. Number 5, make sure trend line is not selected. So we'll click anywhere outside over there. And then we're going to click the trend line arrow and choose linear. And now we can choose Houston. So we'll get both New York and Houston. So it's a little bit hard to see this one here. That's okay. So now we're going to double click the New York data series trend line. So let's double click this. And I'm going to get rid of this for now. And then what we're going to do is click on here. And what we're going to do is we're going to move forward just 1 period. So all we have to do is put a 1 there. And then we're going to go into the fill. And what it wants us to do is we're going to do fill in line. So we're going to select 1.5 in the width. So we need to have a solid line. And it wants us to select 1.5 in the width. Okay, so the instructions tell you to select 1.5 in the width box and type 2.5. It would have been much easier if it would have just said change the width to 2.5. So let me do that. It tells us to select it and 2.5 in there. That looks good. And then we'll close the format trend line. Then we're going to double click the Houston. And we will see, we're going to do basically the same thing. We're going to do forward 1. Go back to the line fill, and we'll change that to 2.5. And that takes care of this. So that is everything for this one. So hopefully this was very helpful for you.